Hello, everybody. This is Stephen Whitfield, a drilling contractor, here at the 2023 SPE IADC International Drilling Conference and Exhibition in Stavanger, Norway. With me right now are Mike DuBose, Senior VP at IADC, and Robin Macmillan, Chief Sales Officer at Gumbo. We're going to be talking about a recent initiative IADC launched to certify smart contract providers. Gumbo is the first licensee certified under this program. So we're going to talk a little bit about smart contracts, how they kind of apply in the drilling context, and what this initiative is. So Mike, Robin, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. And Robin, we're going to go right to you. We're going to start with this first question on smart contracts. Everybody's talking about this now. This is such a big thing now in the industry, and you guys are doing a lot with it. So I think the first question we want to know is, what's a smart contract, and sort of what does it all entail?
Right. Well, thank you, Steve. Thanks for the invitation. Well, probably surprisingly to most, we use a lot of smart contracts in our daily life. So my favorite analogy is Uber. When you arrive in Uber, you have both been physically delivered and the commercial aspect of the deal is complete at the same time. And that's because there's three things in place. You've signed the terms and conditions, the payment mechanism is already established, and the data exists to show that, yes, Stephen did go from here to here at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. So for all the stakeholders involved, which in this case will be the driver, the passenger, and Uber, there's a single source of the truth. And that is key. So if you turn that looking at business to business, which is where we're taking this level of efficiency, the equivalent will be commodity transport. So I've got a contract, for example, to deliver 1,000 gallons of water to you. You've got a tank with a meter on it. I've got a meter on my truck, and we can see that when it's delivered, those two meters coincide. Therefore, I get paid as a supplier or as the trucker or as both. So clearly, wherever there's data to confirm a commercial transaction, a smart contract is applicable, and that is clearly appropriate for drilling.
So Mike, I'm going to go over to you for this next question. We talked a little bit about this initiative that IADC launched. Why now? What is this initiative, and what kind of value are we providing here with this?
Thank you, Stephen. Great to see you. And IADC's mission is to serve our members. That means staying up to date on the leading edge of technology and to be able to assist our members in whatever fashion we may find applicable. So in this particular case, if we can make the payment process more efficient, if we can do away with delays that cause concerns between the different parties, then that's what IADC's mission is here, to be able to offer this service to our members, and if they wish to partake of it, then that's great. If they're happy with what they're doing now, then obviously they can carry on with that.
Well, Robin, we just talked about what smart contracts are. We talked a little bit about the IADC initiative, so I want to get the Gumbo perspective on what is Gumbo doing with smart contracts. How is this all applicable in the drilling context?
Well, in addition to the standard day rate contracts and the derivatives that we can make into smart contracts, what we're doing here right now in the Norwegian continental shelf with Equinor is doing a smart contract for their service contract. And those contracts are extremely complex. And when you've got one service company offering all the services on a single rig, it's a big job, and it's a big job to bring all that data together just to even generate an invoice. So we find offshore engineers using a huge part of their life being invoice engineers essentially to generate an invoice, and then they have to hand it to their client, and they have to reconcile it, and they have to approve it. So making it into a smart contract eliminates all that human effort, if you like, and therefore in the same process eliminates the potential for human error. It also means that because the data has proved the transaction, that payment can take place a lot quicker. In fact, immediately, if that's what the contract says, which means that you can reduce the DSO if you're the supplier. You also reduce the time, obviously, to generate the contract. So that means that working capital is now freed up. So there's the cost of capital that is reduced. There's also the opportunity cost, which you have when there's all this money that's sitting on the balance sheet. So it also removes that problem. The other thing we're finding is that with some clients, the data that we're using for commercial contracts is the same data that's required, for example, to do an emissions report. So, for example, you know how long the generators were running, you know how many helicopter rides there were on a land job, you know how many trucks went back and forth. So we can, from that, we can use an emissions report alongside the commercial contract. And the further initiative that we're looking at now is the ability for us to finance the deal between the two. So if, for example, a contractor wanted to get paid immediately, we would do that. And the reason we were going to have the confidence to do that is because we know from the experience we've had that 98% of the transactions go through completely without dispute. And anything that is disputed, because you're looking at real-time data, you're talking about an incident that happened yesterday, or maybe a meter that went down yesterday, not something that happened 2 months ago when you're trying to reconcile an invoice that's been sitting on someone's desk. So it adds a lot more efficiency to commercial transactions.
So Mike, obviously, Data Gumbo is one company. I'm sure that you want many more companies involved with this, and this is an industry-wide thing. So how can other companies get involved with this initiative and with smart contracts?
Well, if you would like to be a provider, then obviously we would encourage you to contact IADC, contact myself, and then certainly moving forward, IADC has 6 model contracts that are pretty much the industry standard in a lot of regions of the world. Obviously, this is meant to coincide with the IADC standard daily drilling report. So we would encourage companies, if they would like to learn more, to contact us at IADC. If we have service providers that would be interested in utilizing the service, they can contact Data Gumbo or ourselves, and we would be happy to walk them through the process.
Well, Mike, thank you very much for telling us about this initiative. Sure that a lot of people are going to be interested in joining up, seeing what they can do with it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Robin, thank you so much for giving us the perspective of Data Gumbo on smart contracts, telling us a little bit about what they are. Sure, this is going to be something we're hearing a lot in industry moving forward.
Great. Thanks again, Stephen. Really appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you for visiting Drilling Contractor.